In typical Falcon fashion, the Daily has a leaky power steering pump. This thing is dumping more oil than a well in the Gulf of Mexico, and it has already killed one alternator, and I have a feeling that it's gonna kill this newer one soon. And you can see it's already made like a huge mess all through the engine bay with all that oil just getting flicked up by the fan belt end. So it's time to get it changed. Now, to replace it, I've just got a cheap power steering pump because I kind of don't care about the Daily. If it performs well enough and it doesn't break within the next 6 months, I might grab another one to put on the black car. But for now, we're going to try and rip this off and replace it and hopefully not spill a whole bunch of oil or hydraulic fluid all over the alternator in the process, because I'm going to do this without draining anything, and I'm going to try and just make this the quickest, easiest process possible, but we'll see how it goes. First thing that needs to happen is the fan belt has to come off so that I can then get so that I can then undo the bolts, take the thing off. Obviously the pulley tensioner is just down there. I'm just going to take the intake scoop off to give myself a little bit of space to access it more easily. All right. That should give me, there we go. I can get the fan belt off. I don't even need to pull it the whole way off. It just needs to kind of come out of the way. I'll put that back on again properly later. All right, now this bad boy. Okay, so as you can see, the pulley has holes through it, so that way you can access the bolts that hold the power steering pump on. I've just sprayed some degreaser around, and it should be pretty straightforward to get to these, and yep, here we go. Loosen them off and start undoing them. It looks like there are, I think, 2 holding it on. Having a quick look at this one, it looks like we've got 3 that we need to get to. There we go. All right. So as we can see, there's 3 bolts. 2 smaller ones go here and here. Larger one goes all the way through there. And you just use the holes in the pulley to undo them. Pretty straightforward. Okay, now I'm going to undo the lines and hopefully not drop too much fluid while I put the new power steering pump on. When I say hopefully I don't drop too much fluid, I've basically not been putting anything in here because it's just been leaking it all everywhere. And I would rather the power steering pump that's already broken and leaking just die than continue to drop so much oil or hydraulic fluid, whatever, all through the engine bay. So as you can see, there's not really much left in there anyway. I'm going to do my best not to spill it everywhere because there's that alternator. I want to keep that thing working. Oh, this is definitely going to dump fluid. Oh. Yep, a little bit of fluid just drizzling out. I'll let that go down there into the drip tray underneath. Okay. Doesn't look like the hose itself actually has any holes or cracking. Nothing too obvious in terms of it being the issue. So hopefully it is just the assembly and this will all fix everything. Okay. It looks like that's mostly, oh fuck, nope, it's still dripping. This nut looks like it's going to need a flared spanner. So I reckon I'll start with this hose, little flexible hose first, because that I should be able to just zip tie up out of the way, and then I'll undo that one. I am so glad I wore gloves because there is so much grimy fluid and other crap just mixed together here. Oh, that hose doesn't exactly feel like it's in the best shape. Might actually be the hose that's been leaking rather than something in the pump assembly. Alright, instead of doing the right thing and actually going and getting a 16mm, I am just going to do my best to use the 17 Let's see how that goes. Oh, which way is going to be the right way for this fucker? That way. Oh, here we go. Look at all of that grime. It's not immediately obvious where it could be leaking from, but it also could be the hose. Just about anywhere on the hose. I'll know pretty quickly if it's not the pump assembly and it's the hoses that are the issue, because when I put the new one on, it'll keep leaking everywhere. I don't know if it's going to be visible on the camera, but you can see how much, even just using the 17mm instead of 16 like I should be, how much that's actually rounded the edges of that. Great example as to why with really soft fittings like that, you need to be using the right tools. We've got our replacement on hand. Drop it onto the hose and do it up as far as I can by hand first, which is pretty far, it turns out. Oh yeah, nice. The less that I have to use the wrong size spanner, the better. Nope. Oh man. Okay, I think that's as tight as that's going. Yeah, that's definitely as tight as that's going. All right. Now, bolt it all back up to the bracket. So it turns out that on these cheap pumps, the holes on the front of the pulley do not actually line up properly for the bottom bolt. So I had to do a little bit of nonsense with putting the bolt in and then slamming it through the hole there, because it had like 1 or 2 millimeters over the top of the hole. It's just basic stuff. Come on, basic stuff. If you're gonna make, I mean, you expect a bit of crappiness with cheap knockoffs, but it really feels like it shouldn't be that hard to put the holes in your pulley in the right spot. All hooked up now. So now it's time to try starting and see. What's going to be really funny is if I've done something up wrong and it leaks fluid all over the place. That's going to be really annoying. And it's not leaking. Happy days. All right, that's good. Power steering pump done and in. That's one less thing to fix on the absolute clunker daily. But hey, this is going to turn out to be a pretty good car and a really good purchase once I've fixed all of this stuff up. Anyway,